Hello and welcome to GoRacing.ie's preview of one of the great sporting and social occasions of the festive season, the Leopardstown Christmas Racing Festival, which will be held from Wednesday the 26th to Saturday the 29th of December. I'm Denis Kirwan, and joining me to look ahead to one of the key meetings of the entire national hunt season are Irish champion jockey Davy Russell, who has some top rides over the 4 days of the festival. Noel Meade, one of the greatest ever trainers, who is looking forward to the return of one of his biggest stars at Christmas. Also joining us are racing journalist Donn McClean from the Sunday Times and Dave Keena from the Irish Field, and Leopardstown's commercial manager Ciaran Conroy. Donn, if we could start with yourself, the Leopardstown Christmas meeting, it's one of the great festive traditions, but it also offers some of the best national hunt racing anywhere.
It's a great meeting, Dennis. It really is. I suppose from the purist point of view, you have the top horses, national hunt horses in Ireland running here. There's a couple of English entries as well that might come over, and especially this year, it looks like really the best national hunt horses are staying here and they're racing, and they're most of them are going to Leopardstown over the 4 days. So, and you've got at least one or two Grade 1 top class races every day. No, it's a meeting that maybe it's the same every year, but this year it seems to be particularly good. But yeah, it's one to look forward to now.
There's no doubt there's great excitement surrounding the festival this year, Ciaran, and there's something for everybody, male, female, young and old. It doesn't matter, something for everybody at Leopardstown at the Christmas festival.
Yes, Dennis, and this year, as Don has mentioned, there's a real buzz about an anticipation of the Christmas festival. All our hospitality at Leopardstown is completely sold out, which is fantastic the weekend before, and it's driven by the...
So much for the recession, Ciaran.
It's driven by the sheer class and the quality of the horses entered for all our races, but especially our major races. So we've 4 great days of racing to look forward to, 28 races, 6 Grade 1s and 1.2 million of prize money, and I just can't wait for it to kick off in Stephen's Day.
Yeah, there's a terrific 4 days in prospect. And Dave, the Lexus Chase on the 28th, that's the highlight of the entire festival, and it looks to be a cracking renewal. And as we said, there hasn't been as much excitement about a horse in a long time, but Fleming Star from the Peter Casey yard, he's set to run over 3 miles for the first time in the Lexus, and that'd be another big stepping stone on his way to proving that he'd probably be up to the Gold Cup trip.
Yeah, Dennis, he looked exceptional when he won an Arkle Trophy here at this venue last year, and he's won 7 of his last 8 starts over fences. He's won a couple of Grade 1s, and I think he's won each of his starts by an aggregate of roughly 10 lengths. It's his first try over 3 miles, but the strength and depth, normally you might have one standout horse, but the strength and depth this year, it'll be a real test for him, because Tidal Bay is going to come over. He was placed in a Hennessy behind the Gold Cup favourite Bobsworth, and I'm not saying that he sets the standard, but if he beats him comprehensively, you'd like to think that we've a genuine Gold Cup contender this year. Hidden Cyclone, an unexposed novice from last year, Pandorama's back hopefully as well, and whatever Jigginstown is going to run, if they run Sur des Champs, it'll be a proper Grade 1, as good a Grade 1 as we've had here for a long time. But Fleming Star, he sets the standard because of the way he jumps. I've never seen a novice to jump the way he does. He goes down straight over them. He's savage, and to me, if he gets the trip, and I think he probably will, he's the horse they all have to beat. Yeah,
he's certainly the best jumper many people have seen for a long time. But Noel, you're set to welcome back Pandorama, and he's one of the best horses you've ever trained. He's been really unlucky with injuries, and you must be both. There must be a mixture of excitement and indeed apprehension about his return.
Yes, well, of course, it's a big ask for him to come out in a race like that and expect him to come back. He hasn't run since the Gold Cup 211. He went that day and the ground was too quick, but his owner was very adamant he wanted him to run, and it wasn't a good idea. But that's meant he missed all last season. But he has come back well at home, and he seems to have doing things right. He was in Fairyhouse the other day for a schooling race, and he did that very well. And we're very happy with him anyway. I don't expect him to be as good as he was on the day he won the Lexus, but 2 years ago. But at the same time, he seems in good shape, and if we get a good run from him, it'll be something to look forward to.
Even at his best, Noel, I mean, the quality of the opposition in this race is fantastic, really. There's great strength and depth in the race.
Absolutely, yeah, as Dave said, and Fleming Star is a very exciting horse. He's so good over 2 and 2.5. You just wonder, will he get the 3 miles. Maybe the Leopardstown 3 miles, whether he goes on to the Gold Cup and 3 mile 2 furlongs often sorts out a lot of them. But he's been exceptional so far, and he's made good horses look slow behind him.
Dave, you've warmed his tail on Sir Deschamps in the John Durkin chase. He looks exceptional now. As we're recording this, we don't know as yet whether Sir Deschamps is actually going to go for the Lexus. But if he does, would you be confident enough that you could maybe turn the tables on this occasion?
Sure, I'm always confident. No, to be fair, I suppose it'll be a different day now come Leopardstown if he runs. Different conditions, different distance. I think maybe going left-handed might suit him a little bit better also. So I would be happy to take him on again anyway, yeah, for sure.
Donn, it really has the makings of probably the best Lexus chase we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it really, like, there have been disappointing Lexuses in the past. Obviously not the one the Panorama won. That was obviously a really good race. But he's unlucky actually, Panorama, in his return, that he's coming into such a hot race. Because on soft ground over 3 miles at Leopardstown, he's dynamite when we know how good he can be. But these two horses, Fleming Star and Sir Deschamps, if Sir Deschamps does turn up, like, you know, it's a while since we've had a genuine Gold Cup contender.
They're the first and second favourites for the Gold Cup.
First and second favourite. Well, Bobsworth is in there now.
Bobsworth as well. Yeah.
But like it's back to war of attrition for the last Irish trained Gold Cup winner. So, and you know, we probably get ahead of ourselves talking about Cheltenham, but it's just a measure of how good these horses are and how highly regarded they are. I mean, they're second season chasers, so they're progressive, and there's probably more to come from the pair of them. So if the two of them line up, fantastic. And as Dave said, Tidal Bay, who carried top weight in a Hennessy and was only just beaten.
He's a particular favourite of yours, Donn.
Well,
he can be quirky though.
He's enigmatic. It's one word for him. But you know, against soft ground 3 miles, Paul Nicholls bringing him over. Paul Nicholls loves to come over and target his good horses at these top Irish races. So it's great to have them over, and it just adds to the depth of the race.
Ciaran, nothing stirs the blood like the great horses in these key championship races, or in the key grade ones that you have over the Christmas festival. But your advice, I'm sure, the fact that there's going to be big crowds is for people to arrive early and take out the stress of dealing with all the traffic kind of closer to the off of the first.
Indeed, Dennis, we're expecting over 55,000 people. Could be a record crowd at Leopardstown this Christmas. Our first race kicks off each day somewhere around 12:15, 12:20. Our gates open at about 10:30. So I would certainly advise people to get in early. To encourage people to get in early, we have our Christmas festival marquee, where there'll obviously be, it's Christmas, so there'll be food, drink and music aplenty. But we'll also have our winning line and a team of tipsters there to advise people in advance of the racing each day of maybe a winner and give them a few tips before the racing starts.
Dave, the Racing Post are now the sponsors of the Stephen's Day card, and the novice chase sees Willie Mullins, really exciting, Arvika Legionnaire. He was a hugely impressive winner of the Drinmore, and he principally takes on Oscar as well, who's had a promising start to his chasing career.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate what happened to Oscar as well at Punchestown. He had a very heavy fall at the second, and but he came back very well, and he won very impressively at Navan. He doesn't seem to mind the soft ground. He used to have a preference for good ground beforehand. He was the best of these over hurdles, but you'd have to respect the fact that Willie's horse was ultra impressive when he won the Drinmore. He had that race won a long way out. I wouldn't have thought that drop back to 2 miles is going to bother him hugely, especially if the ground is going to be very testing. And Noel's horse, Dylan Ross, you'd have to respect him, because if they go a good fast gallop, you could imagine Paul Carby arriving there at the last on the bridle with him. You know, he's a contender for sure. They're 3 very, very good novices. They're well above average. But the fact that Arvika Legionnaire was so impressive, and he pulverised a Grade 1 winner over 2.5 miles at Fairyhouse. I don't think the drop back 4 furlongs is going to bother him too much. He's there to be beaten, and he'll take a very, very good horse to beat him. I know Oscar as well is second favourite, but this guy could be, he wasn't as good as these were over hurdles, but he looked exceptional that day. The only one thing in the back of my mind is that race was only 3 weeks ago, and regardless of what way you look at it, this ground takes an awful lot more out of horses than may appear visually, and that's the only one thing in the back of my mind as to how much it took out of him. But if it didn't take that much out of him, he's the one to beat.
No, interestingly, I suppose that particular meeting, the Drinmore meeting, doesn't tend to the form generally doesn't tend. Very few Cheltenham winners have actually come out of that meeting over the past few years. But no, the Paddy Power Dial-A-Bet chase over 2 miles and a furlong on the Wednesday. Now that has the makings of a real cracker with Sizing Europe now likely to stay at home, or now indeed staying at home. But you saddled Rail Dove in this contest, and he had a brilliant novice season, Noel, and he finished second to Sizing Europe at Punchestown earlier in the year.
Yes, he ran a good race behind Sizing Europe. I was hoping that Henry might send his lad over to the King George, but he's obviously changed his mind. My fella's probably 2-2 probably suits him best, or even 2-3, that type of distance. He's kind of, I think, 2.5 to 2 miles. 2 miles is just a shade short from. It's very hard to see anybody getting close to or beating the Sizing Europe, to be honest. And my lad did want to run way up there to have a chance of, but you never know. It's as. Yes, as we say, it's horse racing, and it's a 2 mile one chase, and have to jump fences and things go right for you. Strange things can happen, you know.
OK, thanks, Noel. There we take a break. Join us for part 2 of our preview, where we continue to look ahead to some of the other feature races of the festival.